Okay, imagine living on the same block as this house. All night parties, all the time. Nightmare neighbors. We all have stories, but nothing like this. You're about to see just how unbearable it is for residents in some neighborhoods. Investigative reporter Joel Grover and his team spent 3 months undercover, and Joel is here right now with more in his report. Joel.
Well, Colleen, it is a crime in cities like LA to rent your house for events like parties. But some landlords are making big bucks doing just that. They're also making life a nightmare for the neighborhood. The cops haven't stopped it, neither have city officials, so angry residents decided to call the I-Team. The hills are alive. The sound of loud, thumping music all night long.
Bum, bum, bum.
Steve Ginsburg lives right behind not just one, but 2 different homes on the same block in Mount Olympus that are rented for parties.
It's like torture.
Something the owners of those homes don't want to talk about.
Please don't stick it in my mouth.
To see what life is like in this neighborhood, the I-Team went undercover, watching from rooftops, even walking right into some of the parties. LA's zoning law says it's illegal to rent your house for parties in areas zoned for residential use. But we found owners of those Mount Olympus homes openly advertise them for party rentals on the internet. And they gladly gave our undercover producer
and this is the contract.
A contract and a price.
It's going to be $2,000 a night.
When the sun goes down at that house, we often saw parties like this one, where the guests began showing up at 2:15 a.m., greeted by the host in his bathrobe, and they kept showing up past 3:30 a.m., spilling out onto the streets all night.
You try living in a place where literally you can't sleep.
And just 3 doors down is another party house for rent. One night, this guy threw a birthday bash complete with a DJ and lots of booze. Another night, another party with armed guards. Guests were arriving past 4 a.m., and the crowd didn't leave until after sunrise, stumbling home.
It's infuriating that the police and the local politicians have known about it and have basically done nothing.
In fact, records we obtained show the neighbors have called the cops more than 42 times in 6 months just about these 2 houses. On this morning, the music was still so loud at 6:47 a.m., the neighbors called the cops, who had to blast their sirens 6 times to get the party host to answer the door. But in the following days, the parties continued. This is apparently against the law. Captain Peter Zarconi oversees LAPD's Hollywood division. Residents want to know why the police aren't stopping it.
And the residents aren't wrong. I mean, if they're upset that this has been going on and it looks like, gee, it's so blatant, why aren't you doing anything? Well, we should be doing something.
And residents say their councilman, Tom LaBonge, hasn't done anything either. After they emailed and called his office time after time, they've heard nothing back the last 4 months. Is it okay to ignore constituents this way?
I'm very sorry that these people have had poor service from my office.
Party houses are a problem in numerous neighborhoods, like this one in the Hollywood Dells, where we spotted hundreds of partiers on the roof one recent Sunday night. So many guests, they were brought in by the busload, blocking the narrow streets. How do these landlords explain what they're doing? This house is being offered for rent for parties. Eric Oster owns one of those party houses.
I do not allow parties.
But his website includes a contract for party rentals. There were all-night parties, and I saw them.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we said enough.
Now that the I-Team has shined a light on the party problem, there are promises to stop these nightmare neighbors.
We're going to take action on these.
The LAPD says it is now investigating both of those houses in our story. We will be checking back to see what, if anything, the cops and the politicians do. And finally, we spoke with the man who rents that second party house in our story. He said he had no idea it was illegal to rent his home for a party and says he won't be doing it again. We will check back in there too.